Europe before 1914 looked calm on the surface. Kings shook hands. Treaties were signed. Borders seemed fixed. But beneath that calm was a continent sitting on a powder keg. For nearly a century, Europe had avoided a major, continent-wide war. Not because nations trusted each other, but because they feared upsetting a fragile system known as the balance of power. It was a system designed to prevent war. Ironically, it would help cause the greatest war the world had ever seen. The balance of power was simple in theory. No single country should ever become strong enough to dominate Europe. If one state grew too powerful, others would unite to contain it. This idea had guided European diplomacy since the defeat of Napoleon in 1815. For decades it worked. Empires competed, threatened, and maneuvered, but usually stopped short of total war. By 1914, however, the balance was no longer stable. It had become tense, suspicious, and dangerously rigid. By the early 20th century, 6 major powers shaped Europe's balance. Britain, the world's greatest naval power. Britain avoided permanent alliances and focused on protecting its empire and sea lanes. Its goal was simple. No single power should control the European continent. France, still haunted by defeat in the Franco-Prussian War of 1870. France wanted security and revenge. The loss of Alsace-Lorraine to Germany was a wound that never healed. Germany, the newest and most powerful state. Unified in 1871, Germany had explosive industrial growth, a massive army, and ambitions that unsettled everyone. Under Kaiser Wilhelm II, Germany wanted its place in the sun. But every step forward made its neighbors nervous. Austria-Hungary, an old empire struggling to survive. Made up of many nationalities, Germans, Hungarians, Slavs. It feared collapse from within more than enemies from without. Russia, huge, slow, and insecure. Russia saw itself as the protector of Slavic peoples in the Balkans, and wanted access to warm water ports. Italy, a young and restless nation. Technically a great power, but desperate to prove itself. Each power had different goals, and those goals often clashed. To protect themselves, states turned to alliances. Germany formed the Triple Alliance with Austria-Hungary and Italy. France, feeling isolated, allied with Russia. Britain later joined France and Russia in the Triple Entente. On paper, alliances were defensive. In reality, they created a dangerous chain reaction. If one country went to war, others were now obligated to follow. Diplomacy became less flexible. Crises became harder to contain. Instead of balance, Europe now had 2 armed camps staring at each other. Trust vanished. Fear took over. Germany built a powerful navy to challenge Britain. Britain responded with bigger and better battleships. Armies expanded. Conscription became normal. Railways were planned not for trade, but for rapid mobilization. Generals, not diplomats, began shaping policy. War plans were drawn up years in advance. Once mobilization began, stopping it would be nearly impossible. Peace now depended on perfect timing and perfect judgment. Europe had neither. Nowhere was the balance more fragile than the Balkans. The Ottoman Empire was retreating. New nations like Serbia wanted to expand. Austria-Hungary wanted control. Russia wanted influence. Nationalism burned hotter here than anywhere else in Europe. A small conflict in the Balkans could drag in Austria, Russia, Germany, France, and Britain. Everyone knew it. Everyone hoped it wouldn't happen. The balance of power before 1914 looked strong, but it had lost its flexibility. Too many alliances. Too much fear. Too much military planning. Leaders believed war could be controlled, limited, and short. They were wrong. The system designed to preserve peace had become a machine that only knew how to escalate. In the summer of 1914, a single assassination in Sarajevo would test Europe's balance. It would fail. And when it collapsed, it took an entire generation with it.